Yes, we are live. Good evening, viewers. Today is Thursday, and we are here with the 21st episode of Know Your Strengths in Varun Kapur's channel. Along with me, is my co host Vibhuti, who is actually a person whom I revere a lot, as you all know, a person who is exploring human potential and maximizing human potential in the United States, operating from New York. And he's also acts as a cultural ambassador to India. The special guest today, whom we have with us, is Nixon Joseph. He is CSR consultant, formerly president and chief operating officer of SBI Foundation. He joined State Bank of India in 1985 as probationary officer, and he has been a multifaceted person. A person who felt that, okay, banking as a career. I happened to listen to his several YouTube talks, and I realized that he was not satisfied with just being a normal banker dispensing loans to the people. He felt, I want to make an impact, and he said, I want to do something different. And one day he walked for about 7 hours during these rainy times, because now it's raining very heavily here in Mumbai. He walked for about 12 kilometers, and it took about 7 hours. And I said, after walking 7 hours, he thought, okay, I'm fine. So why don't you do some long distance running? So in about 13 years, he completed about 40 marathons, full marathon, 42 kilometers marathon. That's what he has completed. And he started it quite late in his life, and there were so many people who were discouraging him, including his family, which is quite understandable, because they are concerned about his health. But he did it so beautifully well. So he is actually, now he has completed 51 full marathons, and he is the only official among the 1.1 million bank employees in India to have this achievement, making him popular as SBI's marathon legend. So today, though I introduced him as a person who has received APJ Abdul Kalam's award in the year 2018 for excellence in public service, which is a national award. He also got Dr. Kalam Memorial Ignited Minds Award. His name figures in Be the Inspiration book released by Rotary Club Mumbai. Of course, I am a Rotarian, but I was not part of that. So it is completely independent of this, where 45 inspiring Indians were listed. He was recently facilitated as COVID warrior by the governor of Maharashtra for spearheading COVID relief activities, and is also selected as Aspire Circle Fellow. So, without much ado, I would like to take directly, we will start with the interview, because there is a lot he has got to share with the beautiful kind of experience that he has got. But before I start with him, as usual, what is on top of your mind, my co host, Vibhuti?
What is on top of my mind is very simple, is the fact that both of us are bankers. He has been in State Bank of India. I was in Reserve Bank of India and American Express Bank. So we have some common threads between us.
Yes.
All of it, compliance, control, profitability, and everything else. Of course,
Absolutely.
Nixon belongs to the bank that is too big to fail. State Bank of India is everywhere. It's globally known. And I've had the good fortune. I read your little profile, and you were also CEO in Japan, I believe. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. I have had the good fortune of interacting with many CEOs of several banks in New York. So, pleasure to connect with you. And I would say that you have a lot to share. Please tell us one thing. How did you end up being in the SBI Foundation, and when was the foundation set up?
The SBI Foundation was set up in 2015, and it was set up with the vision of bringing a positive change in the lives of the marginalized. So at that time, we were having one flagship program, which was the SBI Youth for India Fellowship Program. So around 2016, SBI was looking for someone as a coordinator for this program. And this was a program where 100 highly educated youths are selected from tier 1 cities and metros. and they were to go to rural areas and address rural issues. And many of them have left their corporate careers, and many of them wanted to be in development sector, and therefore, since they were non-conformists almost, I should tell, the bank was looking for someone who could inspire them or who could mentor them. And you will appreciate that a banker will not be, a professional banker will not be able to inspire or mentor such a group of 100 fellows who want to be change makers. So I was asked whether I would be willing to take upon such a task, and I readily agreed because I thought it is something different from banking. I thought it is like running a college of 100 youths, and therefore it would be quite challenging. And also these youths want to be change makers, and I as a leader would be doing whatever is within my capability, etc., to facilitate their becoming change makers. So it is totally different role, and I thought it's much exciting than being a corporate banker or international banking expert and all. I thought this is something which I was looking forward, and I accepted that request. I told I am willing to be coordinator for SBI Youth for India Fellowship, and in that way I came to SBI Foundation. I was amazed and inspired by the way these youngsters come with ideas to bring change in remote parts of India. And then I like this fellowship. I like the way our youths are bringing hope, resilience amongst the rural communities. So I continued with the foundation, and then I became the president of SBI Foundation, where I was looking after all the programs of SBI Foundation. And I feel that it was a very beneficial decision for me that I decided to shift from banking to foundation.
Foundation.
Because many would think banking is very not romantic, very glamorous, etc. Whereas I found working in development sector, bringing change in the lives of the marginalized, that's quite romantic and something very glamorous, and I feel you feel a lot of satisfaction when you see that you are bringing change and you can see it before your eyes. And especially during COVID season, this was the time when I felt that it was a great decision I took, and maybe destiny had this thing in mind that I should do something big to mitigate the sufferings. So I feel that it was a good decision. I decided to shift from corporate and international banking to the foundation, and I feel that I was just sharing with Ms. Girija that only those who are passionate should come into this sector, because we have a lot of foundations. It can be, we have a lot of opportunities in foundations, positions there. We can consider it's a job. It pays me reasonably well. Okay, I'll sit there. It's a routine job. Then you won't be able to bring change. You can bring change as being part of foundation or being development sector only if you are passionate. And I, as a person, I feel I have been passionate in all my roles in the bank, and the same thing I have been repeating in the foundation. Therefore, I'm quite happy with what I have been doing with the foundation.
Excellent. As you said rightly, passion is the most important thing. Without passion, nothing can be, interesting. Right? The most interesting job can a person can make it very dull and drab. And actually, looking at it, any job that can look glamorous from the outside also has some routine to it. If you're
Yes.
not passionate with the cause, then you are going to always look at the routine and get upset with it, right? So
Yes.
anybody, yes,
Yes. I was
every
when
job has to have his own discipline. So that
when
discipline
you
will appear like routine to you if you are not passionate.
like
If you are
many
passionate, then it is not going to
yes
be a routine, right?
like in SBI
You
itself
won't
I
look
have
at it every day. I have to get up at this time. I
yes,
have to clock in at this time. You would rather be looking forward to it,
SBI
right?
itself I have found some people who are unhappy or considering it a monotonous routine and all. But then I always tell that we have to love whatever we are doing. Otherwise, it is a waste of time. So whatever be it banking, be it with SBI, be it with RBI, be it with any college, university, whatever profession we have, we should love whatever we are doing, and we should find reasons to love it. See, if we look for Like any job, it is having its
Yeah.
positives, it is having its negatives. So if we are able
Yeah.
to focus on our positive things of a banker's job, we'll be able to enjoy it. I was in Bangalore, I was in Garo Hills, Meghalaya, like straight from Japan, where it was like a totally undeveloped area compared to many places in India, very remote. Law and order
Okay.
was a challenge. But then I loved my assignment there. Then it becomes, everything becomes exciting. You think you are going to make change there, change the attitude of the team there. Then you become excited. It's challenging. Monday, every day morning, you get up from your bed with lot of excitement because you know you are going to do a lot of exciting things, and that can should
Yes.
be conveyed to the team as well. That is the thing.
I can,
Absolutely.
I
It is
can,
very
I can,
infectious.
I will, I very easily relate to what you are saying, Nixon, because you are a marathon runner, right? You just didn't get up one day and started running. To be, to be able to complete a marathon, you have to practice.
Yes.
You have to practice. That's what is important. When you talk about passion, is absolutely correct, because I'm a tennis player. I played soccer, and look at the success of, of sportsmen.
Yes.
They continue to do into the discipline of
Absolutely.
practice,
Yeah.
practice, practice, and practice. Practice
Exactly.
can be boring, right?
Yeah.
I remember reading in Michael Jordan's book Air, in which he wrote that why did he have such a high percentage of free throw shots? And he said he used to practice 1,000 shots a day. So imagine
Exactly. Yeah.
1,000 shots, how boring it would be to for a person to see. But for him, it was the passion
That was
to
the
make
focus.
himself successful with a high percentage shooting. He had to practice. And now he made a very important statement there. What is
No,
important
this is
is not
yeah.
only to practice, but practice it right.
Yes.
So
Practice
But
it
it's
right.
that's what is
Absolutely.
important, to
Yeah.
have a passion to be able to do that. And
Yes.
I totally relate with that. And I also changed my
uh,
career,
now
joined
this
the
Olympic
Human
time.
Potential
I was
Project. Yeah, go
this
ahead.
Olympics time, and I was
I
interacting
think
with the
you have to
Madam
come
Karan.
closer to the mic or something, Nixonji. Yeah.
I was interacting with the Madam
Yes.
Karan, first woman Olympic medalist for India in
Ah,
weightlifting. She got it. She was telling that the days or the years before going for Olympics, she used to practice 14 hours, 15 hours, and all weightlifting. So
yeah.
whoever has achieved in life, we see only the medal and the rosy portion of it. Whereas they have
Exactly.
been going through the grind, they have been giving their lot of life for that. Like I should
Yes.
tell, when I completed 51 full marathons, so many days have gone practicing for it. And
That's
you
right.
have to do it
Yeah.
alone. It's not a group game or anything. And so
Exactly.
many opinions will come why you do it. You are not going to become the winner in the like a marathon race or anything. But I used to feel anyone who participates in such a race, who takes that much efforts, is a winner.
Yeah.
We should not
Absolutely.
consider only those who stand first, second, third as winners. Whoever brings
Absolutely.
change, whoever inspires others, whoever is taking efforts is a winner. So that is the attitude we should have. And sports also, we should not consider sports only as a medal winning, Olympic medal winning, etc. We should consider sports as something which disciplines everyone, which makes
Exactly.
everyone one, which excites everyone, which increases productivity of people. And therefore, anyone who participates in sports, I'm not a great sportsman at all. I will tell you, a recreational runner, but I will tell anyone who does such activity, he is a winner because he has been able to do something out of which is not part of his work or anything. He's doing it, and you have a body, you have to take care of it, and you are also inspiring so many people.
Yes. That is exactly, you are, when you're talking about winning, or you're talking about, it is not winning over other people, but you're able to win over yourself, right? There is that
Yes,
little voice that says, why should you do it? Why are you doing this unnecessary effort you're putting in? So you're winning over that voice which is demotivating you, which is the
yes,
most beautiful thing.
yes,
Absolutely. So, about this COVID thing, you said that it is very beautiful that probably there was a purpose why you got in there and COVID started. So I would like to know what contributions SBI made, and as a president of SBI Foundation, what were the various activities that you did with COVID to mitigate the
Yes.
sufferings of people? Yeah.
In fact, when the first wave of COVID was there, maybe in March 2020 and all, it was totally a surprise for us, and I think it brought a lot of uncertainty. What we should do as a foundation, because it is, I would tell, COVID is something which has happened to the world after World War II. It is a war only. It is a war on the world. And then we are at the foundation also, though we are, our vision is to bring, like mitigate the sufferings of the needy and all. We were also at outset, we were not knowing what is the extent of damage this has caused. Only over a period of time, we found that people have lost their livelihood. People are struggling for a day's meal. Our healthcare workers are not having their medical equipments, PPE kits, accessories, etc. And also, as regards our foundation itself, we were used to a culture of being present in office always. We had to be in office. Everyone had to be in office. That was our culture. We never, and we had our like risk management system in the way that if the office is not functioning from here, we would have our backup systems elsewhere. Fine, but then we are used to a culture where we are physically present in office. So that was the first thing we had to take a decision, that whether we should ask our colleagues to team members to come to office in this situation, whether we should make everyone vulnerable. And because unless they are there, we can't take decision. If we want
Work
to
from home was not the culture, you mean to say?
yes, yes,
Work from home was
yes,
not, yeah.
and therefore
It never happened.
unless our team works, we cannot sanction grants, we cannot disburse amounts to take care of the needy. So it is something which we have to we had in mind, that our foundation should work. So we decided that we will suddenly decided we will all work from home, and that was a like I will tell you, very disruptive decision when you think that it is part of State Bank of India, a public sector bank with our all procedures, everything are there, and also being present in the bank, being present in office is part of our culture. We never thought that we will have to work from home. So suddenly we decided, no, everyone will work from home only. So that was a major decision we took. And also we saw to it that our colleagues are taken care of. And then we decided what kind of projects we should do to address COVID first wave. And first thing we learned was that lot of people without food, struggling to get a day's meal. And therefore, we took steps to distribute almost 700,000 meals or 700,000 ration kits all over India. And we took the help of organizations like Akshaya Patra and also grassroots level NGOs, so that this whatever is given reaches the needy. So this is one step which we took, that the immediate step was providing ration kits, food kits to the needy. And then at the same time, our healthcare workers were exposed to a lot of vulnerabilities because equipments were not there, PPE kits were not there, medical accessories were not there. So we decided that we will be distributing PPE kits, all other medical accessories for critical government hospitals all over India. And we have also donated around 300 ventilators to various hospitals in India. So what happened? What we thought was short term, we'll take care of the
Very
food,
huge.
ration kits, etc., and also take care of whatever is required to an extent in the healthcare sector, because Indian healthcare sector, like its demand is huge, needs are huge. So what we thought is critical government hospitals will take care, and that we entrusted our local circles in various state capitals to distribute to nearby hospitals, distribute the food kits, etc. And therefore, these were the immediate steps we took. But then, as a medium term, long term, we had several projects at hand. One was providing training to the healthcare workers on best practices on how to face COVID. or how to take care of COVID patients, etc. So we associated with a project ECO, and then we have trained almost 250,000 healthcare workers all over India on best
Wow.
practices on dealing with COVID. That is one thing. We also thought that
Huge.
some long-term measures like research on COVID, like fighting against COVID virus, has to be done. So we uh, tied up with the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and supported their research and development activities. And what they have come out with, two projects were there. One was a mechanical ventilator, low cost mechanical ventilator. They have come out with a low cost mechanical ventilator, and it can be commercialized. They have also come out with a mobile diagnostic van with our support. So it can go to, it can be mobile, diagnose patients, and then whatever result are there, it can give it to the ICMR portal. So such a project was supported, and these are ready for large scale, like scaling all around. So these are the things which we did in the research side. Then also we supported a lot in community diagnostics, then telecare, because we thought like apart from damage to the physique, a lot of people were suffering mentally. So telecare counseling. So we started a project with an NGO for telecare counseling. So in that way, COVID first wave we were doing like this. The COVID second wave came. Then it came that it was totally different requirements. We were as against PPE kits, etc. We wanted oxygen kits. We wanted oxygenators. ICU beds were not there. So in the second wave, when it came, we took care of all these things in critical hospitals in India, and also in remote villages, and especially in Northeast, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Nagaland. Then remote areas in Uttarakhand and all. We have started COVID care centers. So in Northeast now, with COVID patients are increasing like anything. Mizoram and all, it is increasing like anything. They found it very needy. So what I always feel, I as a president or operating officer, what I tell my program managers is their requirements will be coming from all over India. But then let us attend to the needy and to places where other foundations will not go. So our focus was always on Northeast, Uttarakhand, such places where other foundations do not go there because of the distance, etc. But then I thought these are places where we should reach the needy. And we have provided mobile medical vans in many of these places. ICU beds are, we have, our target was to provide 500 ICU beds. We have supported Apollo Hospital in increasing their ICU facility. So various measures like that were taken in the second wave also, depending on the needs and depending on the funds available. But it was always seen by SBI Foundation that the funds, the grant go to the needy and the really needy. And for that, I'm very, very happy and satisfied at the end of the day. Though I have retired from SBI Foundation, that we have done a very good job. And it is being continued by my successors and the team.
So, Nixon, you have done an outstanding work with reference to saving lives and bringing about education about fighting COVID. Now, when you say retired, have you retired from SBI or SBI Foundation itself?
I have retired from SBI Foundation and SBI.
Both.
On May 31st, I have retired.
Okay, so you have superannuated.
Yes, I have superannuated from SBI and
All right.
continued with various other developmental activities.
So now you can do more. Now that you are not. So my thought would be something like this: that we have done a lot of work COVID related here in the US as well, because I have been on the forefront of talking about it. I'm in the television and radio and as well as work. Some of my doctor friends were first hand battlers of against COVID by increasing their ICU capacities 100%, or doing things which were important. But more importantly, in the Indian context, India has had approximately 200,000 lesser deaths than US, which has an infinitely much superior infrastructure for medical facilities and all that. Having said that, how was it that the second wave became as intense? Because we came to know there was severe, ugly politics got into that. People were, misled, misled about it, and this is the bigger problem in India. It's not about the availability of vaccines and all. India did a great job of doing that. But what must people do? What did SBI do, your foundation do to educate people? Take care of yourself, because 90% of the time, we know the data of mortality of COVID. It's not that high. It is a suffering which is severe, and it can be lethal. That's another part of it. But how does the foundation embark upon the education of people that you got to take care of yourself? Government can do only so much, but that you have to maintain the physical. I don't call it social distancing, I call it physical distancing. Socially, we need to be connected. Physically, we need to maintain distances. That education, to how are you doing on that front, and how are people responding to
It's a
that?
very good question, and I
Thank you.
agree that COVID-1 we faced very well. And whereas when it came to COVID-2, I think we were complacent that we have overcome COVID. And that gave a lot of overconfidence to people to not like meticulously follow the COVID protocol and to take things lightly. I think that was one reason why I will not tell we failed. COVID-2 was a challenge for us. But then what, as you have told, distributing PPE kits, all these would not be enough. This will take care of the requirement of certain section. And education, increasing awareness of how one should behave during COVID, the COVID protocol, all these are very, very important. And only this can prevent COVID from ravaging the nation. So what SBI, apart from using its social media platforms to spread messages about COVID, following COVID protocol, etc. From the foundation side, we took a lot of awareness activities, especially in areas where we have been working. Before I go into that, I would like to tell that when we think about COVID warriors, often we tell about the healthcare workers only. We should also keep in mind that the estate bankers and all the bankers all over India, they did a
They're
very
all the
good.
time out there, right?
Yes,
Like
they
bankers
did
are there,
a
policemen,
yeoman work
volunteers. Yes.
in keeping the economy running. In spite of the fact that many of the colleagues, some of the colleagues suffered due to COVID, some of them lost their lives. In spite of that, all the bankers kept the branches running. That is something to be highly appreciated, because I will tell healthcare workers are doing something beyond the calling they are doing. But the bank workers, bank colleagues, my team, like SBI or any public sector bank, any banker I have found, they considered it was like they did beyond their call duty. They went going to branches in spite of all these vulnerabilities and all. And all of us know that in branches, in spite of the ATMs, all these availability of ATMs, etc., people rush to the branches even now. And SBI is a banker to every Indian. But in spite of that, our staff, our colleagues at branches, they managed it very well. And there also many messages were there: practice social distancing, practice protocol, etc. So all these were messages from the bank side. From the SBI side, whichever villages where we were associated, we have adopted, where our programs were there, we mobilized. Not mobilized means we have spread it through smartphones, through mobile phones, online messages, and wherever possible, practicing social distancing, this message was given that villagers should practice social protocol, keep distancing, etc. And this has been going on continuously. All over adopted, we had adopted in 75 villages, we have been doing it. And these messages in our social media platforms also we give. Apart from that, the 100 fellows who were there in 100 different villages in India, 100 SBI Youth for India fellows, they didn't run away when this COVID and all took place. They stayed back, stayed put in these villages, and they also passed on messages about COVID protocol, what precautions to take, etc. And also spreading awareness about the need to be vaccinated, etc. So all these were going on. See, what in SBI Foundation, what I have found is that any program we see how it can be developed holistically. So in villages also, village development, we see a holistic view of developing the village. So when we take SBI Youth for India Fellowship also, we see how the fellows can become good change makers in a holistic manner. The same way the COVID, when we had to like support COVID activities also, apart from the relief activities which we gave equal importance to spreading awareness about COVID protocol and how it will affect others if we don't follow the protocol, the need to be vaccinated, etc., and lend support to it.
What, according to you, like there are many ways people can be approached, right? So since you were dealing with people in villages and adopted 100 villages and all, what do you think was the most critical realization that the message worked? What was that message that worked? Because there are various people, there are different motivation factors that emerge. I may be motivated by one statement from you. Somebody may be motivated by the second thing or third thing you said. You didn't even think that will impact so much. There is always an interesting differential that we have to realize as leaders, that how the message must reach the people so that it carries the purpose in front. Any particular instance you can cite on that?
See
The
what when
appeal needs to be fashioned differently for different people.
Right.
Very true. Yes.
no, it like when a crisis of this nature happens, the first thing people want wherever it is that others are with them, that they are not alone during this crisis. And so when a organization like SBI, a great large organization, lends its support, wherever be in whatever way it is giving a very powerful message that SBI, such a big organization, is not focusing on business and profit alone. It's also taking care of the community. And also at this time of crisis, when COVID is ravaging everyone, rampaging, the message is we are all with you. That is one thing. And another thing, even our fellows, wherever they were, be it 100 villages and all, the message that they are giving is highly educated youth who are coming from urban metro areas, who can be in comfortable zones in their homes or in the villages. So this gives a message of resilience and hope to those affected. And even our villagers were, our development activities are going on. The very message that SBI is with them, SBI Foundation is supporting them, gives a great confidence and resilience feeling amongst them. So that is the, I will tell more than any message, I feel the presence that such a giant is there gives a lot of things. And also along with that, it's not message, the people are there. See, SBI fellows are there in the field. We have partnered with NGOs and they are in the along with the villagers, and they are distributing whatever we are giving to them. So it's a collective feeling that we are all together to face this crisis. That is the most powerful thing which is required, and that only will help. So that is one thing which I found very much
Much.
effective in such situations. And of course, challenges are there, because I always feel when a crisis of such nature happens, we get requests from all over India. And SBI being all over the India, requests come from everyone. But then what happens is that we don't have, like, I will tell, be it district or state and all, we don't have proper data on how much PPE kits are required, how much oxygen cylinders are required, how much ICU beds are required. So what are the requirements in the state, at the district, at the village level? We should have a dashboard so that all the NGOs, all the foundations can route the resources there. Otherwise, it comes up like helping the same community, or it is all comes to distributed grant, which may not be very, very effective. This is something which I learned during, like, when I was dealing with this crisis, that there should be a data about, like, suppose crisis happens in Mumbai. Mumbai, we have so many hospitals. The district authority should have data on how much oxygen cylinders are required, how much ventilators are required, how much PPE kits are required, and all the resources available can be distributed accordingly. Otherwise, in many cases, what happens is, when people know about the crisis, and I should appreciate I will tell that India corporates, people, many of the many people came together to help those who are those who are needy, etc. But then what happens is, lot of resources come which could have gone to many other places also. But then, for want of data, it becomes a challenge. So I think one lesson which we should learn from such crisis is that there should be a dashboard which tells, oh, this requirement is there, it is directed to SBA Foundation. This requirement is there, it is directed to HDFC Foundation. So then it becomes easier to address such challenges.
You are absolutely right that the need for data information is key to handling a crisis. Absolutely correct. In the first wave, we did not know what this virus did. Now we know.
Yes.
So, despite the presence of major institutions in Mumbai, Mumbai suffered like crazy. Was it because Mumbai people were not, learners enough? They were not aware enough. What happened in Mumbai? Why did the thing did not get handled well, and why did the people not respond in the manner that they needed to do? So now the third stage, in many parts of the world, we are talking about the fourth stage, and the Delta variant has become big in New York as well. In my Long Island, where I live, there were new cases, several thousand cases came up suddenly, Delta variant. But the people are still exercising caution. India has a big challenge. My favorite phrase is that India has a 1.3 billion challenge, because we are high density country. Here in the US, apart from the metropolitan cities, where New York City or San Francisco, which is crowded, other places are far and wide spread out. There was a natural barrier of distance. In the Indian case, how do we ensure that people maintain the cautious approach, at the same time prevent the damage that it does? People have lost livelihood, they have lost income. It's a big challenge in India. And this is one of those challenges where the people's movement has to be much bigger. Every single individual belonging to any religion or any community has to realize that they have a social responsibility of their own. You can't congregate in manners that you did pre-COVID. Why does religious fanaticism overtake us? And be that of any part of the thing.
Yeah.
Why does it happen? Are we, as an institution, State Bank of India,
Religious political rallies.
how do we handle that challenge? Your thoughts?
Yeah, one more thing that I also want to point out here is, like you were talking about, the sense of responsibility with which people need to handle themselves. Now, sense of responsibility with which people also spread messages, right? There is a lot of misinformation being spread. In Rotary, we are trying to enroll people who do not go online and register themselves on the portal. Okay, so we help. Most people have cell phones, but they don't have data, so they can't enroll themselves. So we help them enroll. So when we call them up and then we ask them, they will say, okay, मैं कर रही हूँ, but मेरा पति बोल रहा है नहीं करेंगे. क्यों? Then he says, no, he has heard that he will become impotent. And there are people who will say they will not get children. There are people who have told me that I will die in 2 years. This I have personally heard. So I said, from where did you hear? घर पे आके बोल के जा रहे हैं ना. It is so very disheartening. So people don't understand how they are spreading misinformation like this, false ideas, false fears, spreading fear among people. So there is so much of resistance that we have got to fight against when we want to persuade people to come and take vaccination. Today morning, I was talking to a psychotherapist. So she said, I've stopped going to different places and physiotherapist. And she said, I've stopped going to different places and giving them physiotherapy because this is the problem. She said, I sit in a rickshaw and the driver tells me that I have not taken vaccination because mujhe ye dar hai. So he says it is so very common among people who are there in the lower state of society. They have not been educated. Not only are they not educated, but they have been informed wrong things, and there is so much of fear. So there is
No, see,
a huge responsibility for us to spread the correct information, make people go to the vaccination centers and get themselves vaccinated.
no, see, a crisis of this nature can be fought or can be overcome only if everyone, 1.3 billion people come together. It does not rest with the government alone, it rests with everyone, each of us. But then we have been, I would tell that when it comes to our duties as a citizen, I think we have been lagging behind. And therefore, when we faced this COVID situation, we took it in the same spirit only. We never thought that such a crisis, which will take so many lives, and these are not statistics, all these lives represent some mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, sons, etc. It's not just statistics when we tell 500 people died or 3,000 people died or lakh people died. It is all human life which is lost. That seriousness, I think, has not come to us. That is why we went for religious rallies, political rallies, in spite of everything, because for us, these things were important, more important than human life. So this awareness which we are telling, villagers have to have awareness about COVID, all these are fine. But at the same time, our political leadership, our religious leadership should be more aware about duties which they are vested with. There we are, I think, failing to some extent when we hold the political rallies, be it whichever party, be it whichever
Right.
religion.
Even
When they do
personally,
it,
also, people are
yes,
holding weddings where they are inviting 400, 500
yes.
people, and the police are going and removing them.
Yes.
So we see it every day on video. And there are some friends who are
Yes.
sending that they've
I am
conducted
from
parties.
Kerala. I am from Kerala. When I see the numbers increasing, I find it is only because the highly literate state, 100% literate state, did not take it seriously. A literate state, if you are literate, like no one need tell you every second that you have to practice social protocol, COVID protocol. But then, as you have told, marriages were taking place as if is it a pre-COVID era. Get-togethers were happening as if it won't happen among relatives. It won't happen among friends. But then these are things I think everyone see if India has to change in India, everyone has to be a change maker. Everyone has to do their best. If we wait for the others to change and we wait think that he is not doing or she is not doing, so I will not do it, we are not going to change. And that is why all these crises are happening to us, because as I told earlier, whatever role we do, we have to do it with passion. Be it a minister's role, be it a opposition leader's role, be it a priest role, be it a bishop's role, a temple
Everything.
role, anything, we have to
Speak
do
the
it
right
with
things, yes.
passion. We have to think that all these are roles vested us with us by destiny, by God or by universe for a specific purpose. It's not that we are very meritorious, that is why we occupy these positions. No, there are many many meritorious people, but then by destiny, by the universe or fate or this thing, we are in these positions So it is upon me as a bishop, it is upon me as a priest, it is upon me as prime minister or president or chief minister or opposition leader. It is on me to see that my people should not
Are
suffer
safe.
because of my waywardness, because of my not failing to perform my duty to my country. It is easy to tell about patriotism, it is easy to tell about nationalism, all these things, but the best way you can be a patriot or a nationalist and all, or show love to your nation, is following all whatever has been told, and not only by common man but everyone. Rule is applicable for everyone, protocol is applicable for everyone, but unfortunately we think that we are VIPs, we are religious leaders, we are political leaders, all these don't apply to us. So final result is that common man suffers, marginalized suffers, and the lives which we have lost are the lives of parents, lives of daughters, lives of sisters, lives of husbands, wives, etc. This is a terrible loss for those who have lost it. And this loss is because we are not taking care, others are not taking care. So, lot of things, I think, any crisis gives us lessons, but whether we learn from it is something which all of us have to ask. I feel we are not learning from all these things.
Yeah, very recently we had a hookah party and the pool party. Imagine. Then after that, some around 25 people in the same building, the entire building got together and they had these parties. 25 families, they fell ill. Then now you are saying that the government is not ready, the hospitals are not ready. You are not understanding that we are burdening the system unnecessarily. So people do not realize that. Vibhuti, there is a question for you.
Hmm.
The question is, USA had similar situation, but in India, the role of states, hoarders of oxygen tanks, politicians, especially in Delhi, Maharashtra, please your guidance for India's people. This is a message from Mail HRA
Yeah,
to
this
you.
is I mean, I can only tell you a couple of things. Like people at individual levels, each one has to be cautious and conscious and aware that anything can happen to anybody. This particular virus is totally non-discriminatory. It doesn't discriminate between religions. It doesn't discriminate between states. It doesn't discriminate between people. It is affecting everybody. So please take care of yourself primarily. Get vaccinated. I mean, let the stories be on the one hand. I mean, I did a show with one of my doctor friends here, and regardless of the politics of vaccination, there's a tremendous amount of politics of vaccination. People, even in the US, are arguing about it. All the things that you said, Girijaji, it is applying here too. People are talking about impotency, life in 2 years, everybody will be dead. But the point is, it is 90% safe. There will be 10% people who will get affected. Something may happen. But the point of the matter is, I would urge people in India to expose the politicians who are exploiting this tragedy for their political purposes, be that may whoever it is. Expose them. You have social media, you have places where you did not have 10 years ago. In our generation, we waited for the information to come to read in the paper after 3 days. Today, we are connected in such a way that every information is available. People are innovating. So, for example, a doctor from Mayo Clinic in here, he spoke with me the other day. They have developed an infrared treatment which will kill the virus in public places. So they are talking about installing it in hospitals, visitors areas, in places where if you are exposed to the virus, if it is there in the environment or table, it will kill the virus. They have tested it. It has become successful. Many US hospitals are now buying that and installing it in every hospital room. When I asked about the pricing part of it, believe it or not, people said price is not important. Life is. So, how we treat that scenario, India is not a country that suffers for want of resources. We are a remarkably rich country. So, my suggestion to people, ordinary people, would be please follow the guidelines, protect yourself. Your motto has to be protecting myself and my family. That's simple as that. Let the government do. I mean, today we have suddenly become aware that our medical infrastructure is not good, but that will take time to build. We are a 70-year young country, democracy, but we have thousands of years of tradition. Let's kind of work on that basis to protect ourselves, because unless and until, the airline example is very good. We used to fly all the time, but until one day that message hit my head. Security drill: when the oxygen mask falls, put it on yourself first before you help others. So that's the message which I'm telling people. Help yourself, then only you can help your family or the loved ones. So that's my message. And if the politicians are playing games, expose them. You have so many handles that you can expose these people. And I always say that tectonic shift brought by technology has empowered us. We are editors, we are commentators, we are mood makers, we are change makers. All of us. Let's do that. Let's expose the politician for whatever manipulation he is doing. Let's prevent that from happening. Thank you for the question.
Ravi Singh saying something which Nixon sir said in the beginning. Only if you are in love with what you do, you can bring great effects. Loving and dedication makes you hero of your job with great satisfaction to you and others. This is what Nixon Joseph sir said right in the beginning, that you ought to have passion. And right now, what you said, it really inspired me. You said that all of us have to understand that this is an opportunity for those who are in leadership positions, that this is an opportunity God has given. We are not there because we are supremely talented. We are here because of a destiny. The universe has planned that we should be there, and we should exercise our role with great sense of responsibility. That was a beautiful message. I think that all of us need to carry lifelong. And another thing is, while doing this, then you must have faced several challenges. So, what were the challenges that you faced, whether it is village or whether it is urban areas? What were the challenges, Nixonji?
The first challenge which I told already is that we don't have proper data about our requirements. So that makes, like, we also get a feeling sometimes whether we are giving the grant to the, like, if we are giving the grant to the same people or the same community or the same organization. That happens because we don't have proper data where the resources can be, like, directed. Like when
Right.
there is a crisis in India, I'm 100% sure our NRIs, be it in US, in Europe, or Middle East, they will be sending all the funds, resources, everything. But then they also get scattered because we don't have a proper data. So that is one challenge which I found. And second thing is, see, the COVID is such a situation where people will not be able to reach the grassroots, reach the remote villages and all. So that has been one challenge here. And third, I
Mm.
will tell you, these wrong messages, fake messages, that has
Yeah.
become a craze, like during a crisis time and all. So that will, what happens is we have to have some, like, we have to learn from this, that we shouldn't just forward
Indulge.
messages. Whatever comes to
Yes.
us, we should see whether it will help another person. Otherwise, we should not, whether it is official messages. This habit of creating crisis-like situations, creating panic and all by sending messages, and also fake messages where we tell people vaccination may create this problem. All these have to be. These are challenges which I find. And then one thing I think we should at the same time accept that lot of organizations, lot of philanthropies, lot of
Yes.
human beings, like people came forward to mitigate the sufferings of people. That has to be appreciated because it's a
Very
COVID situation.
positive factor.
Yes,
Yes.
and you exposed yourself to reach such places and distribute food or ration kits and all. So there are a lot of good things, but then what happens is our leadership, wherever it is, have to be much more conscious about their, like, duties and awareness as leaders, so that then it becomes serious. See, you tell everyone to practice the COVID protocol, and you cannot have people in your thousands of people in your political rally or religious procession and all. This is, we are not doing our duty. So these are the challenges which I find I faced when we were dealing with the COVID. But one thing I always tell is, each of one of us, let us send some positive message, because COVID is a situation where people lose their dear ones. People have to spend a huge amount of money if they are in hospitals. People are struggling for various even livelihood. Many people have lost. So wherever possible, even if we are not able to help financially or in by way of resources, at least spread the message of hope and resilience. That is something which everyone can do. Like when I will just share that when this COVID closed down of places happened, many friends told me that you cannot run marathons again. You cannot do any physical fitness
Activity.
exercise, etc. But then I told, see, any crisis is there. There will be some way of dealing with it positively. I told many of my friends we can do it inside our apartments, inside
Yes.
our homes, and that is what I did. Many told, no, it cannot, it's not possible. But not once, many
Yes.
times I did 42 kilometers inside my apartment, and proved that if there is a will, there is an inspiring way to achieve it. So whenever there is a crisis, there is a way to respond positively to it. See, we may not be able to help everyone who has lost their livelihood, but at least we can make him optimistic. We can spread a positive message. We can tell them that when
Absolutely.
their life is not lost, we can do many
Yes.
things even within these curtailments.
You
This
said
is
it very correctly, Nixon. That was very well said, that you did your 42 kilometers marathon inside.
Yeah.
That is the wonderful message to
because
everybody, that
what I think is
you
like
must
we may
be
not
able
be able
to
to
manage that.
distribute
In
so many
Rotary,
things.
we have started this, a race for a cause, walkathon, and 10,000 steps a day. And then impact, there is an app which you download on your cell phone. And however many app steps that you walk, that particular app will pay for a cause.
Yes.
So you say that we are doing it for heart surgery for children, pediatric heart surgery. We have tied up with them. So all the Rotarians and many others friends also have signed up. So what it is, you for every 100 steps that you walk, they are contributing 10 rupees. So it is not even, you are not even contributing money. You are anyway walking inside the house minimum
Yes.
2,000 to 3,000 feet steps every day. So try to work out. It is good for you also. So we have inculcated that. Now for the 5 days, it is there. 5-day marathon. It is there. So they are giving a lot of awards and everything. Yes, right from inside the house, because it goes to them. They can see how much you have walked by when you use that particular app. So it is nowadays everything is possible. Number one. Then second thing that you talked about the challenges. I remembered one challenge that we faced in Rotary. That is, we would go and talk to hospitals about what they wanted, and then okay, something is available. So looking at long term perspective, though they may not be immediately required, they will say, okay, we want ventilators. The hospital management gives that. But when we want to talk to the doctors, doctors say, oh, half of us are not even trained to use the ventilator, we don't want ventilator, because that is not so much in use, and it is dangerous also to start using it for every patient. We want rather oxygenators. So when we talk to them, then we realize that there could be many more different apparatus. That is what they require. So people who work at the grassroots level, the nurses, the doctors, we had to talk to them before we placed orders, because they said Tatas have given us and they're lying in the room. And if more the hospital is asking, that is just for their, okay, we have so many in our hospital to show that, but they're not going to use it in this crisis. For this crisis, we need this, not this. So this is the input that we came from the doctors. So again, we went back to the management. This we said that this is what we had a survey among many people. We didn't say with your own doctors. We said then they agreed. Okay, fine, you donate these. So we will not be giving these. We'll be giving these. So like you said, we have to work with people who are working at the ground level, the grassroots level, working with patients. Then we get the right information.
Yes.
Like, for example, there were many people we were told that the municipality has informed the hospitals that when people call up, private hospitals, when people call up, then they have to say that, okay, bed will be allotted by the municipality. So call here this number. But the hospitals didn't say that. The private hospitals were told, okay, aap bol dena bed nahi hai, so that the allocation will be done by the municipality. So this led to a lot of panic. Our municipal commissioner had created a beautiful dashboard. So whenever anybody calls for hospital beds, the information would reach there, and then the hospital bed will be allotted. But when the called up, say Apollo has to say that call up this number and they will allot the bed for you in whichever hospital is close to your residence. Instead of that, they said, bed sab khatam ho gaya, hamare paas bed nahi hai. So this created panic. So right information, dissemination of information patiently to every person, right from the doctor to the peon in the hospital, is important. Because it is the peon who is standing at the entrance who is conveying that information. He is not informed, given the complete information. That is a problem. That creates a lot of panic.
I have one last question for the day, because considering
Yes.
the time factor available to us,
Absolutely.
knowing what we know now, we know enough. We know what the lacuna is. We know where the shortcomings are. Things are not going to change overnight with reference to infrastructure. Knowing what we know now, do we think, and I'm going to be very strict about one statement of mine, do we think that the religious leaders will collaborate on this project, that we will not let the third wave come? And that begins from religious congregation itself. So rains apart, with the rain, there will be no Friday prayers in Mumbai, on the streets of Mumbai, by the Muslims, the Friday observation of their major prayers. Will they, from next week onwards, prevent, can we appeal to, through this program, through us, can we appeal to all the religious congregations?
All the religious leaders,
Please
yes.
put on hold. Please put
Absolutely.
on hold. If Nixon can run 42 kilometers inside, I definitely can pray inside. And I do. Why can't
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If we do that,
Yes.
if we do that, I think we would have defeated coronavirus.
Absolutely.
That's my
Yes.
final
People
statement.
need to keep patience. We have come more than, crossed 70% of the challenge. So for the next 30%, we all need to keep ourselves strong and avoid the temptation of going out, meeting friends, going to the mall, going to parties, whatever the invitations come. We need to be responsible and we need to say, no, I'm not coming. Thank you so much. Because invitations are coming. People have started sending invitations. And when we say no, we are becoming unpopular, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So we need to be firm in this regard. And really, through this portal, we appeal to all religious leaders and all political leaders and every family man to avoid all congregation at any cost, wherever possible. That's it. I have a friend who's here in Mumbai, whose son-in-law is battling. He's a doctor. He's just 53. He's battling for his life in John Hopkins Institute at Baltimore. Today I was praying for him. She said, I don't think he will survive. Doctors have said no. So the entire hospital is praying for him. So that is the kind of struggle that the doctors have been having. So many policemen have lost their lives. So many volunteers on the field have lost their lives. So many doctors have lost their lives. Like I said, so many banking professionals have lost their lives. We've lost count of these people. But in addition, due to irresponsible behavior, if people lose their lives and also become a load to the system, that is highly condemnable. So you said very rightly, Vibhuti, service to man is service to God. So every religion, every religious leader must do this. You have said really touched the right chord. Nixon ji, you would like to close it with any comment? You would like to say anything?
No, I will tell that third wave is like almost there, and let us not give up, never give up. But then let us all come together and fight this. Everyone at a village level, a city level, a state level, everyone, all leaders, be it political, religious, community leaders, let us all come together, because unless we all come together, we won't be able to be successful fighting against this virus.
Thank you very much. Coronavirus is non-discriminatory. Let us be wise enough to fight it collectively. That's my message.
Let us have the discrimination, and let us not only put the responsibility on the government. Each one of us are responsible. Yes. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful talk, Nixon ji. It was a wonderful conversation. And of course, Vibhuti ji always adds to the enjoy of the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Sharanji, for joining. We are almost closing. Yes, very inspiring session. Saviji, thank you so much for it. Thank you, all the viewers, for joining. Thank you, Varun, for this opportunity to discuss something. Know your strengths. We all are full of strength. We have to just tap it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.